That day I opened her phone and realized that the next few months of my life would be devoted to just one thing: perfect revenge. I had been working as a firefighter in Tempe for 9 years. The job was unpredictable, sometimes dangerous, but I loved it. Every shift brought new challenges: pulling people from burning buildings, responding to car accidents on the highway, teaching fire safety to elementary school kids. The adrenaline, the brotherhood among my fellow firefighters, the knowledge that I was making a real difference in people's lives, it all gave me purpose. Coming home after another shift, I always knew that comfort, family, and peace awaited me. Or so I thought. My wife Emily worked as a fitness instructor at a local sports club called Elite Fitness. She taught yoga, spinning classes, and personal training sessions. Her schedule was flexible, which I thought was perfect for our family. She seemed passionate about health and wellness, always talking about proper nutrition, new workout techniques, and helping her clients achieve their goals. We had been married for 4 years, and we had a 6-year-old son, Marcus, from my previous marriage. Emily had also been married before, so we both understood the value of a second chance. We talked openly about our past mistakes, about how we wanted to do things differently this time, to build something real and lasting. I met Emily through mutual friends at a barbecue 3 years before we got married. She seemed perfect, caring, energetic, devoted. She was attentive to Marcus from the very beginning, never trying to replace his mother, but always showing him kindness and interest. She asked about his day, helped him with homework, took him to soccer practice when I was on shift. We moved in together quickly, got married after a year of dating, and I thought I had finally found what I'd been searching for all my life. A partner, a companion, someone who understood the demands of my job and supported me unconditionally. But that summer changed everything. Sebastian was her old friend from college, an IT consultant, an unremarkable guy who occasionally showed up at our parties. He wore plain button-down shirts, spoke in a monotone voice about cloud computing and network security, topics that made most people's eyes glaze over. I didn't pay him any attention. He seemed quiet, polite, a bit boring. Perfect camouflage, as it turned out later. I never suspected that behind those bland conversations and polite smiles, he was plotting something far more sinister. It all started with a small thing. Emily left her phone on the kitchen table when she went to take a shower. We had always had an unspoken policy of privacy. We didn't check each other's phones, didn't demand passwords, trusted each other completely. But that evening, something felt off. The screen flashed with a message from Sebastian. "Can't stop thinking about last night." My heart ached with a bad premonition, a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach that told me everything was about to change. I knew I shouldn't, but I opened the messenger. What I saw turned my life upside down. The correspondence had been going on for months, maybe longer. Photos that made me physically ill, confessions of love and desire, detailed plans for meetings. They met at a romantic restaurant on the lake shore, in hotels downtown, even in our house when I was on duty. I scrolled through messages where Sebastian described walking through our bedroom, lying in our bed, using our shower. The violation was complete and calculated. But the worst was yet to come. Scrolling further, I found mentions of others, some Jonathan from her gym and Sam, a former client who now lived in Phoenix. Emily wasn't just cheating on me with one man. She was leading a double, triple life. There were group chats, coded language, inside jokes about deceiving the firefighter. They were laughing at me. All of them. I felt physically sick. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. But I forced myself to breathe, calm down, think rationally. This was like responding to an emergency. Panic would only make things worse. I took screenshots of everything, methodically capturing every conversation, every photo, every damning piece of evidence. I sent the files to my email, then to a cloud backup, making sure nothing could be lost. I put the phone back in place exactly as I'd found it. Emily came out of the shower with a smile, her hair wrapped in a towel, skin still damp. She kissed me on the cheek and asked how my shift went. "We saved a cat from a tree," I joked, forcing normalcy into my voice. She laughed, said I was her hero, and started making dinner. I smiled back, though everything inside was burning. That night, lying next to her in bed, I felt like I was sleeping next to a stranger. The next 2 weeks I lived as if in a fog, but I acted methodically. I needed evidence, specifics, an understanding of the scale. Every morning I woke up, kissed Emily goodbye, and went about gathering the information I needed to destroy her world. It became my secret mission, my obsession. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep properly, but I kept moving forward. I talked to Louisa, the administrator of the gym where Emily worked. We were acquainted, and she had always been friendly toward me. I'd helped her husband with some fire safety equipment for their home, and we'd had pleasant conversations at gym events. I asked her to meet me privately, away from the gym where Emily might see us. "Edward, I don't want to meddle in other people's business," she said quietly when we sat down in a cafe across from the gym. Her eyes were filled with pity and discomfort, but I saw Emily leave with Jonathan several times. He's a CrossFit trainer. They looked, well, you understand. They would leave together after evening classes, get into his car, drive off toward the hotel district. "How long has this been going on?" I asked, gripping my coffee cup so hard I thought it might crack. 3 months, maybe more. "I'm sorry, I thought you knew. I thought maybe you had some kind of arrangement. Some couples do these days." She looked down at her hands. "I should have said something earlier. I'm sorry." I thanked her and left. Jonathan. So it wasn't a fantasy, not paranoia. Everything was real. The betrayal wasn't just Sebastian. It was systematic, repeated, shameless. Then I found Veronica, Emily's friend, who worked at the same gym. We accidentally met near the supermarket, and I saw my opportunity. I approached her carefully, didn't want to seem desperate or crazy. "Listen, Edward," she said, nervously looking around. "I know about Sebastian. Emily told me about him. She bragged about it, actually. Said he was exciting, that he made her feel alive in ways you didn't." The words cut like knives, but I kept my face neutral. "But she also mentioned someone else. Sam, I think. A former client who now works in Phoenix. She said she visits him sometimes when she tells you she's going to see her sister." The picture was coming together like a horrible puzzle. 3 men that I knew of. Possibly more. For years of marriage, and all this time she had been playing the role of the perfect wife while living a secret life of calculated deception. I felt not just pain, I felt cold rage that demanded action. But rage without strategy is useless. I needed a plan, but I didn't rush. I was waiting for the right moment. In firefighting, timing is everything. Rush into a burning building without assessing the situation, and you die. The same principle applied here. Emily was supposed to go away for the weekend to a fitness conference in Scottsdale. Actually, as I learned from her correspondence, she was planning to spend those days with Sebastian in a private villa by the lake, a luxury rental that cost $800 a night. Money from our joint account, I later discovered. I decided that this would be the perfect time for the first step. While she was away, living her fantasy, I would be building the framework for her destruction. I hired a lawyer, an old friend from the fire station named Marcus, who had gone into law after an injury left him unable to fight fires anymore. We met in his office downtown, and I laid out everything. The screenshots, the testimonies, the financial records. "Edward, this is one of the most clear-cut cases I've ever seen," he said, shaking his head. "She didn't even try to hide it. We can get you everything, the house, the assets, probably even force her to pay you alimony if we push hard enough." We prepared divorce papers, collected all the evidence. Screenshots organized chronologically, testimony from colleagues, financial expenses for hotels and restaurants from our joint account, showing a pattern of deception going back over 2 years. Everything was ironclad. Marcus assured me that no judge would side with her after seeing this. On Friday evening, Emily packed her bag, kissed me with those lying lips, and left. "I'll miss you," she said sweetly. "Call me if you need anything." I waited an hour after she left, then left myself. Not to the villa. I wasn't going to make a scene or confront them. That would be too simple, too merciful. I went to our lawyer, where we completed the final formalities and notarized all the documents. Then I returned home and began the second stage of my plan. This would be the performance of a lifetime. I called Emily's parents. They adored me, considered me the perfect son-in-law. Her father, Robert, often said I was the stable, dependable man Emily needed. Her mother, Patricia, told people at church that I was a blessing to their family. I invited them to our house on Sunday evening for dinner, told them I had some wonderful news to share about our future. They happily agreed, excited and curious. I also asked my mom and a few close friends to come. Everyone thought it was just a regular family evening, maybe an announcement that Emily was pregnant or that we were buying a bigger house. Emily returned on Sunday afternoon, relaxed, tanned, with a sparkle in her eyes that I now recognized as post-affair glow. She talked enthusiastically about the conference, about interesting seminars on new training methods, about networking with other fitness professionals. She showed me fake conference materials she'd obviously grabbed from an actual event to maintain her cover story. I nodded, smiled, asked interested questions, and prepared dinner. She had no idea what was coming. At 7 in the evening, all the guests gathered. Emily's parents, my mom, our friends Louisa and her husband, a couple of neighbors who we'd known for years. The atmosphere was warm, relaxed. I'd set the table beautifully, opened good wine, even made Emily's favorite roasted chicken. Emily was glowing, pouring wine, joking with guests, playing the role of perfect hostess. She was so good at it. She'd had years of practice. I waited until everyone sat down at the table, until they were comfortable and expecting something pleasant. "Friends," I said, standing up with a glass in my hand, "I gathered you today not just for nothing. There's important news I want to share." Emily smiled at me, suspecting nothing. She probably thought I was about to toast our marriage or announce a vacation. "Over the past few months, I've learned a lot of new things about my life," I continued. "And today I want to be honest with all of you, because you're the people who matter most to us." I took out a folder of documents and placed it on the table. Emily's smile started to falter. She could sense the shift in tone. "Emily, I know about Sebastian, about Jonathan, about Sam. I know about the romantic restaurant on the shore, about the hotels, about the weekend you supposedly spent at a conference, but actually were at a villa by the lake." I pulled out my phone and showed the GPS data I'd pulled from our shared cloud account. "Villa Rosa, Lake Pleasant." Sebastian checked in under his name. "You were listed as his wife." The silence became thick, suffocating. Emily's face changed from a smile to confusion, then to horror. Her wine glass slipped slightly in her hand, red liquid sloshing dangerously close to the rim. "Edward, what are you saying?" she stammered, her voice breaking. "I'm telling the truth," I answered calmly, my firefighter training keeping me composed. "And everyone present has the right to know it. Your daughter," I addressed her parents directly, watching Robert's face turn from confusion to dawning horror, "has been cheating on me for most of our marriage. Not with one man. With 3 that I know of. Possibly more." Emily's mother went pale, her hand flying to her mouth. Her father jumped up from the table, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. "This is some mistake," Emily screamed, standing up so fast her chair toppled backward. "You've gone crazy. You're having some kind of breakdown from stress at work." "Here's the proof." I opened the folder, showing screenshots of correspondence, account statements showing charges at hotels on dates when I was on 24-hour shifts, testimony from colleagues. "Everything is here. You can check for yourselves. I've organized it chronologically. The affair with Sebastian started 2 years ago. Jonathan came into the picture about 8 months later. Sam was the most recent, starting about 6 months ago. The next few hours were chaotic." Emily cried, tried to justify herself, spun wild stories about how the messages were taken out of context, how I was misunderstanding everything. She said she loved me, that it was a mistake, that she got confused, that she was going through something and made bad choices. Her parents sat stunned, their faces cycling through disbelief, anger, and profound disappointment. My mom hugged me, holding back tears, whispering that she was proud of how I'd handled everything. Friends didn't know where to look, shifting uncomfortably in their seats. "I filed for divorce," I said firmly, cutting through Emily's hysterical explanations. "The documents are already prepared. The house, all assets, stay with me. You have a week to collect your things and leave. My lawyer has already filed the paperwork with the court." "You can't," Emily screamed, mascara running down her face. "This is my home too. I have rights." "I can," I answered calmly. "Marital infidelity, evidence of spending joint funds on your affairs, testimony from multiple witnesses. My lawyer checked everything. The law is on my side. Arizona is a community property state, but infidelity and financial misconduct change everything." Her parents stood up from the table. Her father approached me, his face aged 10 years in the past hour. He extended his hand, and I shook it. "I'm sorry for my daughter, Edward. You didn't deserve this. You've been nothing but good to her, to our family." His voice cracked with emotion. "I don't know where we went wrong with her." Emily's mother was crying, not looking at her daughter. "How could you do this?" she whispered. "How could you become this person?" They left first, unable to bear being in the same room with Emily. The rest of the guests gradually dispersed, offering me quiet words of support, leaving us alone in the wreckage of the evening. Emily sat at the table, tear-stained, broken. She looked at me with eyes full of despair, all her masks finally stripped away. "I really loved you," she whispered. All of this, it was a mistake. I don't know what came over me. I think I need therapy. I think I have a problem. If you loved me, I answered, you wouldn't have done this for 4 years straight. With 3 different men. Multiple times per week. You didn't love me, Emily. You loved the comfort, the security I provided, the respectability of being married to a firefighter. And you looked for the rest on the side. She wanted to say something, but I raised my hand. 1 week. Pack your things and go. To Sebastian, to Jonathan, I don't care. But you don't belong here anymore. The next few days were hard. Emily tried to change my mind, called dozens of times, wrote long emails and text messages, begged for forgiveness. She showed up at the fire station until my captain had to threaten her with a restraining order. Her parents also called, but to me, apologizing, asking to forgive their daughter, lamenting that they hadn't raised her better, offering to help with Marcus in any way they could. I remained steadfast. A week later, Emily moved out, taking only personal belongings. The house, car, all joint savings. Everything stayed with me as my lawyer had promised. The divorce went quickly and quietly. Marcus did an impeccable job, and Emily's lawyer advised her not to fight because the evidence was overwhelming. But that's not all. I took one more step that Emily only learned about later. I sent anonymous messages to Sebastian at his workplace, a conservative tech firm that prided itself on family values and ethical conduct. I included evidence of his affair with a married woman, showing how he'd used company time and resources to facilitate the relationship. His company was conservative, with strict ethical standards. A month later, he lost his position. His career in the tech community was effectively over. Word travels fast in those circles. Jonathan also got his share. I talked to the owner of the gym where he worked, showed evidence of his affairs with a client instructor, violating professional ethics and potentially exposing the gym to liability. His contract was not renewed, and his reputation in the fitness community was ruined. Emily moved in with Sebastian after being evicted from her apartment when she couldn't make rent. They tried to build a relationship, but as I learned from mutual acquaintances, everything fell apart in a few months. Sebastian blamed her for losing his career because of her, said she was toxic and destructive. Jonathan and Sam refused any contact with her when she reached out. Her parents communicated with her rarely, coldly, not forgiving the shame she brought to the family. I stayed in our house with my son Marcus. Life gradually improved. Work, family, friends. The pain gradually receded, leaving room for something new. I didn't regret my actions for a second. Emily made her choice when she betrayed trust repeatedly and systematically. I just made sure the consequences matched the actions. The months passed. Summer turned to autumn, then winter. One day my phone rang. An unfamiliar number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Edward. Emily's quiet, broken voice. Can you meet with me? I need to talk. We have nothing to talk about, I answered calmly. Please. Just 5 minutes. I'm not asking to come back. I just need closure. For both of us. I don't know why I agreed. Maybe out of curiosity. Maybe because I needed to see what became of her. We met at a cafe on neutral territory, a place neither of us had been to before. Emily came alone. She looked different, not tired or aged, but just different. Beautiful still, but she had lost that sparkle, that confidence that once characterized her. She looked like someone who had learned a very hard lesson. I wanted to apologize, she said quietly. Really apologize. Not ask to come back, not make excuses. Just say that I understand how much I hurt you. I was silent, looking at her, waiting to see if this was another manipulation. I lost everything. Myself, you, my parents' respect, friends. Sebastian left me, blamed me for everything. I was left alone. And I deserve it. Yes, I said. You do. She nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. I really loved you, Edward. But I realized it when it was already too late. I've been in therapy for 3 months now. I'm trying to understand why I did what I did. Why I destroyed something good. Love isn't just words, Emily. It's actions. And your actions spoke of something else entirely. They spoke of selfishness and entitlement. We sat for a few more minutes in silence. Then I stood up. Goodbye, Emily. I hope you find what you're looking for. I left without turning back. During this time, I understood something important. Forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about yourself. I forgave Emily not because she deserved it, but because I deserved peace. But forgiveness didn't mean reconciliation. Some things can't be restored, no matter how hard you try. Life went on. I met another person, a music teacher named Sarah from a neighboring area. She taught piano and violin to children, and we met when Marcus expressed interest in learning guitar. She was kind, honest, genuine. We didn't rush, building a relationship gradually, based on trust and mutual respect. After everything I'd been through, I was cautious, but she was patient. She understood that trust had to be earned, and she never pushed me. My son loved her. The house was filled with warmth again, but a different kind, more authentic, more real. Sarah never tried to replace Marcus's mother, never overstepped, but she showed him genuine care and interest in his life. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click like if you enjoy this story. I always read your comments and analyze which stories you like best so that I can create better stories. Thank you. I will continue the story. Emily remained in the past, as a lesson, as a reminder that trust is the most valuable thing that can exist between people. And when it's destroyed, only fragments remain. But those fragments taught me something valuable. I deserved better. I was worth more than I'd been given, and there were people in the world capable of genuine love and loyalty. The aftermath of everything that happened continued to unfold in ways I hadn't anticipated. About 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I received a phone call from Louisa. She sounded hesitant, almost apologetic. "Edward, I'm not sure if I should tell you this, but I thought you'd want to know. Emily came to the gym yesterday. She tried to get her old job back." I felt a strange mixture of emotions, surprise, curiosity, but mostly indifference. The wound had healed enough that hearing her name didn't cause the sharp pain it once did. "What happened?" "The owner turned her down immediately. Word got around about what she did. Not from me, I swear, but you know how people talk. Apparently one of her former clients saw everything unfold on social media and spread the word. She left crying. I wanted you to know in case she tries to contact you again." I thanked Louisa and hung up. Emily's downward spiral was continuing, and while I took no pleasure in her suffering, I felt no sympathy either. She had made her bed, as they say, and now she had to lie in it. I'd given her everything: love, stability, trust, a home, and she'd thrown it all away for momentary excitement. My son adjusted well to the changes. He was young enough that the divorce didn't traumatize him, but old enough to sense that something had shifted. I made sure to spend quality time with him, to reassure him that he was loved and secure. We went to baseball games, went camping in the mountains, built a treehouse in the backyard together. These moments became precious to me in a way they hadn't been before. I'd almost lost the opportunity to have this life, this peace, by staying in a relationship built on lies. As I watched Marcus laugh while we roasted marshmallows on one of our camping trips, I realized that Emily had actually done me a favor. She'd freed me from a false life, from a relationship that looked perfect on the outside, but was rotten at its core. Now I had the chance to build something real, something lasting, something true. Thank you for watching the video to the end. YouTube may no longer suggest my channel to you, so subscribe to it to receive new interesting stories. You will also help the channel grow and improve the quality of its content. A playlist with other interesting stories that you can listen to is now displayed on the screen. You can also write in the comments what stories you would like to see on the channel.